This is a continuous improvement movement reserved for the few with the grit to prove it. Everybody.
Good morning. This is Maria, and I am here with my co host Calvin Williams in the Ticket to Freedom podcast. In this podcast, we discuss continuous improvement as it pertains to current events. Today, we are going to talk about an article titled Digital's F Word: Why Failure is Your Friend, Not Your Foe. This was just released this morning by The Independent. As you probably know, and it's a little bit cliche, but you know that the most successful companies use failure as a stepping stone to success. Calvin, why don't you unpack that a little bit for us?
Yeah, as you can imagine, there are people who will avoid any failure or appearance of failure like the plague. And
Not
sometimes
me. Well,
it happens. It
yeah,
happens. I think we all do,
yeah.
given the situation. But um, these people can end up in leadership positions. These people can end up in middle management, frontline operator, whatever the case. It's just that the reality is that failure is, if you're smart, if you're wise, I suppose, is just as much of an opportunity for growth as success is, right? So when you have an idea, when you run an experiment, there's only two possible outcomes. Either A, it's a successful idea and you get the business result you were going for, or B, it's what we call a failure. If you're smart, you would take that failure as a learning opportunity, right? And you will grow an understanding of the processes and understanding of the business, the customer, et cetera, and grow from failure. Fail forward, in a sense,
Mhm.
is a term we hear, especially in the tech industry. So, um, yeah, I think the key though is to experiment and to try,
Mhm.
right? Again, there's only two possible outcomes. You succeed and gain, or you fail and you gain knowledge. So either way, you grow.
Mhm. Yes, Calvin, and one thing that really caught my attention in this article, they say that the most successful companies have a failure quota.
Huh?
So that was amazing to me because a lot of people are very afraid to fail, right? To have a
Yeah.
failure under their resume type thing. So these
Yep.
companies have a failure quota, and so failure happens so fast
Mm.
that what that generates is the democratization of ideas, right? So
Right.
everybody's ideas get collected, they get experimented towards really quickly, and then only the ideas that show promise get funded, right?
There you
And
go.
then from there, the ROI on that good idea that came up is humongous because you've already tried tons of things that don't work.
That's it. Right. So there's a couple key things in there, right? Number one, if you're not failing, then you're not trying.
Yeah.
If you're
Mm-hmm.
just kind of staying in your comfort zone and not trying anything new and not experimenting, not really trying to grow, then you're not going to fail either. So,
Right.
a person or an organization that's kind of stuck in a comfort zone, just trying to in survival mode, they're not going to fail as
Mm-hmm.
frequently as someone who is actually trying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when someone is failing, it usually has such a negative connotation, right? This person is
Yeah.
failing, this person is struggling, right? In a lot of cultures, it's just almost a they're on the way out kind of connotation. Um, but the most successful companies, to your point, the Amazons, the Metas, the Googles, right? Those that we all know and revere, they
Mhm.
have a much stronger culture of, hey, you need to be trying. In fact, if I can't find a boneyard of failed experiments behind you, it says something about you, right?
Mhm.
And it's embracing, and it's almost like a fail fast culture.
Yes.
And I know people who hear the term fail fast and they think, oh, let's go do a enormously impactful and high magnitude but stupid thing so that we can fail fast. I don't think that's the intent of fail fast. I think what you're really going for is experiment rapidly and experiment in a way where risk is minimized, but you accelerate the rate of learning, right? So more experimentation translates into faster learning, and faster learning translates into faster people development, right?
Mhm.
Slow experimentation translates into slower learning, slower development, lower level of knowledge, and ultimately it leads to the failure of all failures, where you find yourself in a position where you've been in the comfort zone so long that you can't adapt to the new reality.
Yes, yes, I love that. And that is key. Experiment, experiment fast, and always be aligned with your goal. Don't
Right.
just experiment for the sake of experimentation. So that
Absolutely.
way you're able to mitigate risk and really have a good impact towards what you're trying to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like experiment or die, right?
Right.
But experiment in a smart way, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of tech companies, when they get started, the sort of the conventional wisdom is that you create a minimum viable product. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason you do that is because you don't want to create a product that's so expensive and so cumbersome and so time consuming and all the rest that by the time you actually take it to market to learn from the first set of customers,
Right.
you're so exhausted that you have no room to adapt, right? And then you go into a mode of, well, those customers are bad. We're gonna just force our product out into the market, and that almost never ends well, right? The reason you go with a minimum viable product, you do this in software, you do this in manufacturing, you should do this in any environment where you have an
Any
experimentation
industry.
culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the reason you go for a minimum is because you want to get the maximum learning from the minimum amount of risk and effort,
Mm-hmm. And
right? So
money.
and money, absolutely, and money. So take the step that's going to get you to the knowledge quicker, but also minimize the loss of other valuable resources.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you everyone for stopping by to Ticket to Freedom podcast. Let's get better every day, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Just in time, not a second slow. From the top flow to the shop flow, come on. Everybody, let's go.